Hey, so today we're going to be making a staple in any Mexican household. But in recent years, there's been a lot of Mexican influence in the United States. So we are going to be working on something that I'm sure every one of you has at least tried at a Mexican restaurant, and it is salsa. We're going to be making the regular type, what most people call regular, or salsa fresca, which is another word for a red salsa. What you're going to need are these ingredients. We've got cilantro. This can be omitted. Some people have an aversion to cilantro. They think it tastes like soap. About, half the population maybe thinks that, but I love its fresh flavor. So we're going to take cilantro. It needs to be fresh if possible. Dry just doesn't taste the same, and it may not work with your salsa. So you're going to need chile. This is a jalapeño. You may use as many as you want with these. I typically don't like a lot of spice. I feel that it robs the rest of the flavor, but a lot of people love spice. So what you're going to do is you're going to add as many of these little guys as you want. You're going to need a tomato. In Mexico, we call these jitomates, or in other Spanish-speaking countries, they're just plain tomates. You're going to need several of these, depending on how many you want. I added, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 or 9 jitomates, 9 tomatoes. So you're going to need this. You're going to need garlic. Oh, and you're going to need salt. I know mine's all dirty, but that's salt. And an onion. All right. You're also going to need a blender. Ta-da! Now, there's another way to make these that is a more traditional way, and it does give you a different consistency. And that would be a molcajete, or a mortar and pestle. I think I said that right, mortar and pestle, kind of slurred there. But you can do that, and you're going to grind it by hand. But this is a typical fast way to make salsa that's more weeknight Americanized, so that's what we're going to be doing. So what you're going to do, and I skipped this step, showing you guys, kind of trying to get it going. You're going to boil in water. It doesn't really matter how much, just enough to cover your veggies. You're going to put water. I like to add salt, and you're supposed to add a lot of salt to make the water boil. I grew up thinking you add like a teaspoon. It's actually, you're adding, gosh, like a tablespoon. I kind of eyeball it, so I just pour it in, and it makes the water boil faster. So because I'm making a large quantity, I added a lot of tomatoes and 3 chiles, or jalapeños. In Mexico, we call them just chiles, which means chili peppers. They don't really distinguish or differentiate between the different kinds of chili peppers until you're actually cooking or reading a recipe. So a lot of people will just say, oh, lleva chiles, which means, oh, it contains or it has chile. So we put in 3. It's going to be really spicy. I will not be eating it. But anyway, so you're going to boil this. As far as time-wise goes, I would say you're just going to keep an eye on it and make sure that it boils down to the part where these little guys, see how their skin's coming off? That's what you want. We're going to peel the skin off, and we're going to put those into the blender. So you're going to take your onion. I've already chopped it up. See? I'm so fast. You're going to chop it up into little pieces like this. That's just so that it works better in the blender. You could put it in whole, but problem is, if you have a yucky kind of cheapo blender like I do, it's going to make the blender work harder, and you might get possible chunks in it that you don't want if you want a more smooth and liquefied salsa. So I chop it up. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, just, you know, littler pieces instead of chunking in that whole onion. So there's your cebolla, your onion. Over here is the cilantro. Now the thing is, some people are real picky about these little bitty stems. I'm not. I just grab a bunch from the bag, rinse it, make sure you always rinse your produce, guys, and then chop it up and put it in. The amount of cilantro is according to your taste. I just kind of do a little, I grab a bunch and then chop it up. So you've got your chopped up cilantro, chopped up cebolla or onion. You've got these guys boiled. See, they're cold. I boiled them a while ago. It's easier to work with if they're cold. Believe me, I've burned my hands so many times. So I've skipped, these guys are done. Ta-ta-ta, see you later, guys. And now we've got our blender. And actually, instead of chopping up garlic, I'm gonna be super fast and use garlic that's already chopped. It's minced, it's in a container, and it's ready to go. So we're going to put in the garlic. Again, a lot of this is not an actual measurement. You're going by flavor. And I know first timers, you're probably thinking, but it's got to have a, you know, a number, an exact measurement. I say if you don't like a lot of garlic, just put a tiny bit. Let's see, like, what would this be? Like a quarter of a teaspoon maybe. You can put that in. Do not skimp on the garlic unless you have an allergy, because the garlic really gives it flavor. But you do want to be careful because garlic is a very potent flavor and it could actually overrun the entire thing. So make sure that you add it to taste. You can always add more and mix it again. So I say start out small and then add more as needed. The same for the salt. You are going to do as needed, or as much as you want taste-wise. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel off this skin from these tomatoes. Now, the thing is I like the skin for most things. Like with potatoes, a lot of people, especially in the Mexican culture, what they will do is they will peel off the skin and discard it. But as a person that pays attention to a lot of nutritional facts, because I'm just a weirdo, you know that the skin of any vegetable or fruit is where all the nutrients are. So the problem with this, with peeling it off, is you're actually getting rid of a lot of the nutrients. But this is how it traditionally goes in Mexican recipes. They will peel the tomatoes for this. So that's what we're gonna do. You can leave the skin on. It really doesn't change the flavor, in my opinion. It doesn't make it any more difficult to blend. It doesn't, you know, make it bitter or anything. So that's kind of up to you. I just do it this way because this is the way that I've done it for years now. So we're gonna add these in. And I don't know if any of you have noticed in recent years, tomatoes have lost their flavor. I mean, they have a little flavor, but it's very subtle. It's very disappointing because I remember eating tomatoes and they had a very distinct tomatoey flavor. And now, not so much. Such a disappointment. So, as you can see, I'm just peeling these and putting them in to our blender. And you know, if you leave little pieces like that, sometimes it's like impossible to get them off. That's okay. Again, there are nutrients in that. And here's a little secret. If you have people that don't like to eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of men that I've met like meat, especially in the Mexican culture, they will like meat and tortillas and rice or beans. That's a lot of protein, not too much fiber, and a lot of those nutrients are missing. They're gonna get a lot of what they're missing from the salsa. Okay, so here's another thing. You don't have to seed this. I see how I just pulled off the top and I pop it into the blender. So, mystery of salsa revealed. I know a lot of people that didn't grow up with parents making salsa. A lot of friends that I've had from different cultures, but outside the Mexican culture, really believe that salsa is, they will pay high dollar for it too. They believe it's this difficult thing and they think it's beyond their ability to make it. And guess what, guys? That's not true. That's the goal in a lot of these cooking videos I'm going to make for you with Mexican food, is to take away, now we're adding the cebolla, the onion, is to take away the mystery and let you realize that anybody can make this stuff. And then there's nothing wrong with buying it if you have a certain brand that just makes it and it's delicious. Or if you're in a hurry, girl, I get it. Ugh. A lot of times I will even pay for a chopped onion from my supermarket if I am in that much of a hurry. And I'm like, dude, I don't want my hands to stink. No, thank you. We all have it. That's fine. But at least this way, you guys, I'm going to use my knife, try to get this off. You guys will have the knowledge that it's up to you and it's your preference. If you want to buy it, sure, but you don't have to. You have the ability to make it on your own. It is in your hands and gives you control. So, excuse my hand. It's kind of hard to cook with your hands holding the phone. So I'm going to put in that ajo, which is the garlic. Like I said, it's minced garlic. This will save you a step or two. And now, because I'm making such a large batch, look at how much this is in my blender. That's a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a bit more garlic because I actually like that garlic flavor. I grew up eating a lot of Italian food and Mexican food, and we like a lot of garlic. So You hear my birds? They're kind of going crazy out there. I dropped the phone in the blender. Now my phone will taste like garlic. But I gotta be honest, I don't think anybody's gonna be licking my phone. And if they are, it's a little bit scary. I don't think anybody needs to be licking my phone. I have children, they might. I have dogs, they might too. You never know. Okay, so there's your garlic. And you saw how much I added? I'm really bad with measurements, but let's say that's probably about 2 teaspoons. Maybe more, probably more. Like I said, I'm bad at measuring. So we're gonna take our salt and we're gonna just kind of add some in. And like I said, you can eyeball it. If you know you love salty, then add lots of salt. But I really do recommend that you start small because you can always add it in, but you can't take it out. Now here comes the part that is very controversial, the water part of the salsa. Do you add water? Do you not add water? Now notice, I'm gonna come back over here to my stove. I left the water that I boiled it in the pot. I'm gonna throw this out later. I don't use this. So I left that water there. I typically don't put the water from the boiling of the vegetables into the salsa. I mean, you could as long as you clean your vegetables first, but let's come back over to the blender. Okay, see how down here you've got a little bit of water that came along with the tomatoes? That's about all you need. Now it does depend on what consistency you're looking for with your salsa. If you want it to be real watery, then great. If you like it more chunky, then you're gonna have to limit the amount of water. It also depends on your blender. I have a really kind of cheapo blender, old school blender. One day I'll get a new one. But because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and not put too much water, but I do need some to help it all kind of blend together. If you're using a food processor, this would be a whole different deal. So if you like it chunkiest and you really like to feel those vegetables and have chunks of vegetables, I suggest to you that you use instead a molcajete. And I'm kind of wary about turning this camera around and showing you my messy, horribly disgusting kitchen behind me that I didn't clean for the video, but I do want to show you what a molcajete looks like. So please excuse the mess, please excuse the mess. It's insane. Okay, look, see, my kids put stuff in it. Okay, and clearly this needs to be cleaned out, but look at this. This is so gross. Okay, so here is a molcajete. This one has a cute little pig's face on it, and he's missing an eyeball because he's seen so much sadness. Okay, so it's basically, it's made from lava rock, and it's, again, a mortar and pestle. Now you're gonna, this is the part that you mix with. Now see, it's got stuff stuck in the crevices and it's kind of, ugh. It's gonna get like that. They're not gonna be pristine and beautiful after wear and tear and use, but it's all good. So that's what you're gonna want if you're gonna want a really chunky salsa. And you can get these in Mexican meat markets. You can get them in some grocery stores, or if you're like the rest of us, you just order it online. All right, back to the salsa. So again, we've added the tomato. Let's review. We've added the tomato, we've added the chile, we've added the onion, and we've added a little garlic, and the salt, and the cilantro. This is a typical salsa fresca. One trick that will change your life forever with salsas that I'm not going to do today because I don't have one, but if you want that kind of creamier consistency of a restaurant style salsa, even for red salsa or salsa roja, you actually add a whole zucchini. I know, right? Just crazy, mind blown. It really does. It doesn't change the flavor too much. It does change the consistency. Like I said, it makes it creamier. It is just a well hidden secret that I just can't stand people hiding, so I'm sharing it with you. Now, I'm sorry about my recording. Again, I'm kind of doing this with one hand. So, all right. So you're gonna put, sorry, this is, guys, I have got to work on my skills. Okay, so we're gonna put this on here. Again, we're gonna have somebody help me do this next time because this probably is really hard for you to see. You're probably going, I can't see, I know I'm dizzy. Okay, so you put your lid on. You got your blender. Like I said, I don't recommend my blender because it's seen so much trauma and tragedy. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go down here, see the settings. I like to do puree. See how it has one here for salsa, diced chopped salsa. I just typically do puree for everything and then watch it. But that's it, you guys. I'm going to let you go now so I can go blend up my salsa. And again, when you're done, you can pour it out, try it. See what you think. You can always add more garlic and put it back in the blender, or just leave the chunks in it if you like it like that. The only ingredients that you need to boil for this would be the chile or the jalapeno and the tomato. You don't have to boil the onion. You don't have to boil the garlic. This is, as I said, a typical Mexican salsa fresca. Hope you guys enjoy it. Leave your comments below. Thanks so much and have a great day. Adios. Hasta la próxima.